Hi everyone, I'm Ollie. I live in Hangzhou, China. Today I want to take you across a part of China most people don't see, the remote northwest. No luxury tour, no poverty story, no perfect travel guide. Just 3 friends, 1 rented car, 7 days, and 2,817 kilometers on the road. I'm going to lay it all out for you. The local food, the huge distance, the highway systems, the beautiful landscapes, and the annoying problems that still happen here. No water at all. Is remote China beautiful freedom or an exhausting grind? By the end, you will see what it's really like to travel here. The trip started in Hangzhou, but the real journey begins in Lanzhou. After a bumpy 3-hour flight, we landed in the northwest. Car we rented for 7 days. It costs 1,774 yuan in total. First meal here. Before leaving the city, we had our first meal in Lanzhou, hand-grabbed lamb at the local Muslim restaurant. Yeah, this one. 这是什么茶呀？
桑坡台。
桑坡台，还是甜的哦。
啊，对。
Nice tea. It's sweet, sweet tea.
来几位，中台的来，来几位的，都里面来。
Lanzhou is still a city. There are buses, streets, food stalls, and people dancing in the square, just like many other Chinese cities. But one thing makes Lanzhou different. It's a provincial capital built along the Yellow River. For Chinese people, the Yellow River is not just a river. It's often called the Mother River of Chinese civilization. Even our road trip still not started, you can feel the big difference from this city and our Hangzhou city. The whole trip is not only about famous place or wonderful landscape. I think it's a good opportunity to feel the difference, the east and the west. I mean the west of China. The next morning, before leaving Lanzhou, we had beef noodles for breakfast. In northwest China, noodles are everywhere, and Lanzhou is especially famous for beef noodles. This is 8 yuan, around $1.2. Beef noodles. Honestly, it was really good. The first day road trip starts. From Lanzhou to Menyuan County, the distance was 333 kilometers. We had 4 plenty stops along the way. So the first real day of the road trip was basically a 6-hour drive. This is something you quickly learn from traveling in northwest China. Food can be cheap, but distance is never cheap. You pay for it with time on the road. Of course, the view kept changing the whole way. Mountains, valleys, small towns, empty roads, it never stayed the same for long. Around lunchtime, we stopped at a small family restaurant in a town. From the menu, I could already tell this place was cheap and generous. The husband cooked in the kitchen, the wife served the food. We didn't try to save money, we just ordered what looked good. 没事，我自己装就好了。
先你装完这个盖子啊。
好的。The portions were huge, so we packed the leftovers. In the end, 4 big dishes for 3 people cost 100 yuan in total. Before the first day was even over, we were already surprised by the local price, but what surprised us even more was the road itself. The landscapes were huge and constantly changing. The further we drove, the more the landscape changed. Tibetan signs, white towers, prayer flags, and yaks start to appear on the road. And honestly, here, the yaks are the real owners of the road. We are just visitors. This was the first time I really felt we were entering a different part of China. Before going deeper into the mountains, we stopped for gas. It cost 420 yuan to fill up the tank. Gas here is not cheap. We went to Gangshika Snow Mountain. To go up the mountain, we had to switch to the local shuttle bus. Luckily, it was only 25 yuan per person. When you travel with friends, taking photos for them is basically part of the job. My cousin was very happy with the photos I took for her. And these stone piles are not just random rocks. In Tibetan culture, people often build them as a way to pray for good luck. So I also hoped we would have good luck for the rest of the trip. I'm feeling a little bit tired. You can see my breath because the altitude here is around 3,800. So for me, heart break very quick and I need deep breath to keep my balance. Look, a modern high-speed train passing through the snowfield. This place felt remote, almost like another world. The contrast felt almost sci-fi. The road kept changing again. Tibetan-style streets, marmals by the road, horse running in the open land, straight highways, snow mountains, and a tunnel at around 3,800 meters. This is what Northwest China feels like on the road. You are not just going from one place to another. The whole landscape keeps changing around you. Look, the sunset. Already drive more than 7 hours. Tired day today, but the sunset, worth it. 烤鱼，我们点一份。
一个烤鱼啊，
对，就这个。
配的啊。
We thought it would be a normal dinner, but the grilled fish was huge. It seems like we still haven't got used to the local price and portion size in the Northwest. Travel issue again. We face this bathroom without water. No water at all. The host hung up on us, so we couldn't take a shower. We just wiped ourselves down and went to bed. The other day, we left a 1-star review for this Airbnb. It's a tired day yesterday. We drove more than 8 hours. So last night, we chose to sleep longer. It's already 9 a.m. now, but it's okay. During road trip, good sleep is also important. Before leaving, the car was already covered in dust. I had to wipe it often, otherwise it would be hard for us to enjoy the views on the road, and it would also be hard for me to film. 坦克，
我来了。
导航到敦煌夜市。
结果是第几个？
第一个。
为您找到3条路线，选择第几个？
第一个。Another 550 kilometers road trip. On the way, we saw a lake on the map. It was not in our original plan, but we decided to leave the highway and take a look. We did not really reach the lake in the end. The road became rough and some areas were closed because of mining. Also, we did not make it all the way to the lakeside. It looked really beautiful from a distance. This stop is not our plan. Decided to get off the high-speed road and visit here. This is the magic about road trip. You can stop wherever you want. Anything you saw, I love it. We arrived at Yumen service area. Looking at all the people coming and going, this was one of the larger service areas on today's route. We plugged in the car, scanned a QR code, and started charging.
给我们打广告哦，你在直播吗？
没有，拍视频。
拍视频啊，帮我们宣传啊。
In many parts of China, even in remote areas, this kind of system is already very normal. You can buy all kinds of local snacks, fruit, and ice cream here. There was also an affordable buffet, but we were not very hungry, so we did not eat here. There were also toilets, a small supermarket, and a hot water room. You do not need to know anyone. You do not need to talk to a worker. For a long road trip in Northwest China, a service area is not just a place to rest. It's a small life support system on the highway. Of course, more importantly, a gas station is also a basic part of every service area. The Mogao Caves in Dunhuang were one of the places we were most excited about on this trip. This place has more than 1,600 years of history. And of course, it was one of the most expensive attractions on our road trip so far. The ticket costs 238 yuan per person. It's one of the most famous historical sites in northwest China. You can tell how popular it is just by looking at the line at the entrance. And this was still the off-season. The whole visiting process was very organized. After entering, we first watched 2 digital films. Then we took a shuttle bus through the desert area to Mogao Caves. Honestly, just seeing the cave exteriors under the desert cliffs was already impressive.
这个耳廓从耳朵后方穿过耳朵就可以了。设备正面有3个按钮，加减加开关键。各位结束讲解或中途离开的话，把设备如数归还给我啊。
The flat walls at the lower part were built and reinforced in the past 50 years. The uneven walls above are the original walls, and they are over 1,000 years old. But the real highlight of the Mogao Caves is inside. The murals and Buddhist statues are incredibly detailed. It's hard to imagine that artists created them more than 1,000 years ago, and many of the colors are still so bright. After visiting the caves, we were already a little tired, but we still decided to go to the desert to watch the sunset. Look, the beautiful sunset is so colorful. The blue hour evening really helped us recover from the long day. Back in the Airbnb, even though we had no knife, we still found a way to eat the watermelon. A nice watermelon after a tired day. Yeah, not elegant, but worth it. And real. Day 5 was the longest driving day of the whole trip. So before leaving Dunhuang, we decided to have a proper local breakfast.
没有其他哦，还有一个油条。
It's around 600 kilometers and we will drive more than 8 hours. We have 3 stops in our plan. But this day also gave me my favorite moment of the trip. For years, I have used a Chinese app called Ant Forest. In this app, you connect virtual green energy from your daily low-carbon activities. And that virtual energy can help plant a real trees in the desert. The night before, I checked the app and found something surprising. One of my real trees were planted right along our route. It was the Ant Forest number 102. So we made it our first stop of the day. The road was not easy. We drove onto a very bumpy dirt road in the desert. This was not a famous tourist spot, but for me, it was the most personal place on the whole trip. A tree I planted on my phone actually became part of a real forest in the desert. I find my trees here. Ant Forest number 102. My tree is here. I have my tree here. This is a strange part of modern China. Your phone can order food, pay bills, book hotels, call taxis, and sometimes even plant a real tree hundreds of kilometers away. Amazing. After seeing it in person, I realized how difficult it really is to plant trees here. Sand, strong wind, almost no water. I honestly can't believe that Alipay and Ant Forest really turned these virtual themes into reality. I have real respect for that. We kept driving through the Gobi. The landscape became even more empty and huge. This was exactly the northwest landscape I had imagined. It's so huge and big. And the altitude here is around 3,600. In the last 3 hours, Our altitude increased from 1,100 to 3,600. I'm keeping deep breathing to balance. At one point, we had no internet. No internet in this area. But around us, there were still wind farms, solar towers, highways, railways, and power lines. It feels like we had accidentally entered the set of a space movie. That contrast is hard to explain. It feels remote, but it's not disconnected. More than 8 hours drive, we finally arrived in this Delingha city. Yeah. Wonderful dinner just now. I love fish. I'm a fish lover. Almost 10 p.m. So many lights, so many people outside, and even someone still having dinner here. Looks like a bigger city compared to the county or the small town we have been there. Delingha feels like a very typical small city in China, a little messy, but full of everyday life. Before leaving, we went to buy some local products. Yak jerky, yak milk candy, and black goji berries. These are very common local specialties in this part of northwest China. They could cut the jerky we pick right here in the store, and they could also ship everything directly to my home, almost 2,000 kilometers away. As long as we spent more than 200 yuan, the shipping was free. This small detail felt very Chinese to me. Even in a remote city, the logistics system was still connected to the rest of the country. On the road, we saw Chinese, Tibetan, and Mongolian signs, small towns, and old people sitting under the trees, playing cards and chatting. This is also part of the trip, not famous attractions, just normal local life passing by the car window. Then we finally arrived at Qinghai Lake. Wow, the biggest lake in China, and another very special part, the altitude here is more than 3,000. Wow. So that makes this lake super special. It's huge, almost like the sea, but to me, it felt more like a standard commercial tourist area. No real surprise, nothing especially special. 哎，那个地方是不能直接去湖边的，
因为
它都拦着了，我看。
对，但是你可以去淡雅那个。
淡雅我们去了，我们下午去了。
那
一般，我觉得没有这里风景好。可能今天我们下午来天气不好。It's 6 a.m. super early, right? We get up so early because we are going to watch the sunrise. It was cold, quiet, and peaceful, but unlike the desert sunset from 2 days earlier, the golden sunrise felt more full of life. First sunrise in this whole year in Qinghai province. We are going to our airport. It's about 450 kilometers drive to the airport. It's crazy, right? So last day, not about road trip. It's about to catch up the flight.
即将右转。
Oh, forgot an important thing. My sunglasses. Finally, we came to the end of the trip. We got off the highway, returned the car, and the staff checked it. Then we said goodbye to the car that had been with us for 7 days. I'm already at the airport waiting for my flight. After 7 days of the road trip, compared to the cities in the east, like Shanghai, like Hangzhou, that side of China is more modern, more fast, and more futuristic. After this 7 days visit, the villages, the towns, the county, it's different kind of life, different kind of view, and different type of landscape. Wonderful experience, and I'm expecting for the next time. In 7 days, we drove 2,870 kilometers across northwest China. For 3 people, the ground cost was 10,132 yuan, excluding flights. This is about 3,378 yuan each, or less than $470 per person. My round-trip flight from Hangzhou cost 1,530 yuan, so for me, the whole trip cost about 4,891 yuan, or around $680. This was not the China I thought I knew.